everyone. Ekabo, Kedu, Sanu. Ekabo is welcome in Yoruba language of the southwestern part of Nigeria. Kedu is Awaye in Igbo language of the southwestern part of Nigeria, and Sanu is Hello in Hausa language of the northern part of Nigeria. At a point, I used to welcome listeners in various African languages, but for some reason that stopped, but I will resume that. Welcome to episode 74 of the podcast, and I remain your host, Omobi. For today's episode, we will continue our discussions on the AfCFTA Competition Policy Protocol, and we will focus on the provisions on mergers and acquisitions. We are looking at when mergers and acquisitions will be declared incompatible with the Competition Policy Protocol. The first thing to note is that the mergers and acquisitions being referred to, it's only the one that has the ones with continental dimensions, that the ones that will have effect on cross-border trade within the AfCFTA, not just to mergers and acquisitions that are related to a country, but the one that has continental dimension, or the ones with continental dimensions, and it relates where both the acquiring undertaking. So I'll just use company in this instance for the benefit of those that may not be familiar with undertaking. So it applies where both the acquiring company and the target company, or either the acquiring company or the target company, operate directly or indirectly in the market that's within the AfCFTA market, and the combined annual turnover and or assets of the companies concerned equals to or exceeds the thresholds to be determined by a regulation. Okay, so that's the mergers and acquisitions that would apply under the Competition Policy Protocol. So let's move on to where a merger will be declared incompatible with the protocol. So a merger that is likely to substantially lessen, prevent, restrict or distort competition in the market, or a substantial part of it, which includes giving rise to the creation or strengthening of a dominant position, shall be declared incompatible with the protocol. And the protocol has gone on to list the various factors that will be used in determining whether a merger is likely to reduce or distort competition. So we will look at that now. So these are what the authorities will be looking at, or the authority shall consider all relevant competitive factors, including the following. I'll list out some of it. The competitive structure of all markets affected by the merger, barriers to entry, including consideration of the ease of entry, including tariff and regulatory barriers, the level and trends of concentration, the history of collusion, whether the merger will result in the removal of an effective competitor or any pro-competitive effects of the merger, which may outweigh the harmful effects of competition. So that means if the pro-competitive effect will outweigh the harmful effects on competition, the authorities will consider this. There are also instances where public interest factors will also be used in determining if a merger is also likely to restrict or distort competition within the market. I will list out some of that as well. The authorities will consider if the potential to promote sustainable and inclusive socio-economic and industrial development. So the potential to promote sustainable and inclusive socio-economic and industrial development. They will consider employment, the ability of SMEs, that's small and medium-sized businesses, to become competitive, or the ability of industries in the market to compete in other international markets. So these are the public interest factors that will be considered to check if the merger is likely to lessen or prevent or restrict competition. The authority then has three options after the examination or the consideration. The authority shall either approve the merger without conditions, or approve the merger with conditions, or deny the merger. So depending on what the result is after the consideration, they have the option to select from the three of that. The Act also provides instances where the authority may revoke its decision to approve or conditionally approve the merger, where in respect of a conditional approval, that is, if the decision was based on incorrect information for which a part to the merger is responsible, the approval was obtained by deceit, or an undertaking concerned or that a company has breached an obligation attached to the decision. So these are the instances where the merger will be considered or will be checked to see if it's incompatible with the provisions of the Protocol on Competition Policy. And this is where we are wrapping up for today. And as usual, the podcast is for educational purposes only. If you need expert advice, please reach out to a trade expert around you, or you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn. And I am Omobola Adekola. And until next week, I say to you, bye-bye.